everyone, and welcome to Turner Talks Football, Music and More. Now, for those of you that know who I am, you know me from Fan Podcast. I was co-hosting with Ross on that podcast. Now we have decided to go our separate ways, and I'm still carrying on my journey within the media industry. And I'm going to be doing a lot of freelance work, and I will be doing an update video eventually on what services that I can offer. Now, on today's episode, I do an interview, but before I get into a little bit about that, I just want to say a massive thank you to those who are sponsoring me, which are Pescard Northwest, Ophelia Rose Tattoo Artist, Carol Pain Relief Therapy, and WKW Designs. Now, I just want to say a massive thank you to those who are investing in my journey and investing into me as well. Now, this podcast is going to be from people being interviewed from all kinds of backgrounds. So, people within the football industry, people within the music industry, people within the business industry, and I am going to be touching on mental health topics and raising awareness as and where I can on certain organisations. So I'm going to bring you an interview from someone who is starting out in the football industry, doing some content creation, a bit of freelance work, the wonderful Beau, and the interview's coming to you now. Hello everybody and welcome to Turner Talks Football, Music and More. And today I am joined by a very wonderful guest who is based in Macclesfield, and I've known her for quite a little bit of time in and around the football club and all the work she's done. So I'd like you to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Beau and I'm just a uni student. I'm 18. Yeah, I just do my YouTube channel and stuff like that.
What made you get into YouTube? Like, how come you decided to pursue sort of a media type thing to do?
So I've always grown up with YouTube. It's like I watch YouTube as like, you know, the Sidemen, you know, like all like the breakthrough and stuff like that. So I've always wanted to have my YouTube channel. Like my mind was always set on that. So yeah, I originally wanted to do like just normal vlogging content, but I think with me being like completely, I won't say obsessed, but like I was really into football and like just sports like that. So I just set my mind on wanting to do like football vlogs, you know, like vlogging and like Mac what I did and stuff like that.
Well, with Macclesfield, obviously, I know you know Harry Stokes.
Yeah.
And obviously with Harry, he's done vlogging for quite some time. Obviously, I got to know Harry before the club went bust. I met Harry, I think it was at Oldham Away, was my first ever time of kind of meeting him. And I know with Harry, when he does his vlogs, like he does it as sort of a release and escape from reality. And what I like about Harry is he is autistic, but he does not let that stop him.
Yeah, definitely.
From doing what he does. And what I like about him as well is no matter what shit he gets online from people, he just carries on as he is. And what I'll say is, I remember one time when I think I saw you commented on one of his posts and he'd done something and you was like, oh, that's really good, Harry. And then obviously he replied to you. And I think like stuff like that has helped build his confidence, because I believe he's helped you with your work, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely. He's always been so supportive and helpful. Like he started it way before me. So yeah, he's been so helpful. He's like always commenting on like my posts and my videos, which I just love about him. He's amazing.
What I love about Harry is that supportive nature is because, you know, like I say, Harry has got autism, and for those that don't know Harry, he's a very kind and caring person. Now, I remember I'll tell you a funny story about Harry. So we was at Oldham Away and Jack McCourt was over a free kick, and you know what it's like when Matt take a free kick, you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know where it's going to go. But with Harry, I was like, oh, I think this is going to go in, and it went in. Someone's let a smoke bomb off, and Harry being Harry has picked it up and just waved it around.
Yeah.
And this steward tried kicking him out, and I was like, look, mate, you are not chucking this lad out. He's not let the smoke bomb off. He's only picked it up, spun it around his head, and that's it. And he was like, no, I've seen him do this. And I was like, mate, I'm telling you now, if you're going to try and chuck him out, you're going to try and chuck the rest of us out, and you'll have a fucking job on your hands. And he was like, and he walked away. So his dad messaged me on Facebook and he just said, oh, thanks for what you've done for Harry today. He's told me that the stewards tried being heavy-handed with him and that you kept him safe, you calmed him down. And I was like, yeah, because obviously I've got two brothers with autism, so I know that autism is in different forms, and having someone try and touch an autistic person is not a thing for me. It's like, if you want Harry to get out because he's done something, fair enough, but speak to him like an adult. Don't try and get heavy-handed, and they weren't good stewards at that time. I don't know if it's changed now, but in terms of Harry, so obviously you've seen he's been doing what he does for longer than you. Did you kind of take any inspiration from him, or did you like sort of look at his work and think, you know what, I like how you do it, I'm going to do something along the lines but not copy it?
Yeah, I think with Harry, he obviously has like all this community around him. Like, he's so good at what he does. He's just really good. So with mine, I was like, I obviously watch Harry's vlogs. Like, you know, I'm a Mac fan. Like, I obviously will, but I obviously don't want to copy him, because, you know, it's like, it's just not right to do that, obviously. So I didn't really think of trying to put like my own spin on it. I just wanted to just go there and vlog the games. So obviously not as good as Harry does it, but yeah, just definitely Harry's been like a big part in like inspiring me to like do the vlogs at Mac.
Yeah, because I've seen from your vlogs, obviously, I'm not going to compare them because they're two completely different things. You know, Harry's vlogs are the way he does it. Harry does fan interviews. But I've noticed with your vlogs, obviously, you was going with your dad, wasn't you?
Yeah.
And you were sort of doing like a dad and daughter watches football type thing. And I thought, do you know what, that's really good. So where did you get that kind of inspiration from?
I started like watching Thogden and all of his stuff. It was quite like a long time ago, like 2019, when it was only a pretty small YouTuber. So yeah, like watching him do stuff like with his dad, like doing like not even just vlogs, but like, you know, he would do stuff like, you know, rating Premier League home kits or something like that. Just watching them obviously really like inspired me and wanting like to go into like the football like content creation scene.
So obviously, having going into the football content creation scene, obviously you did a documentary on Macclesfield.
Yeah, I did.
So tell me, how did you go about getting to do that documentary? Like, who at the club did you approach?
I think I might have approached Bob Trafford first, and then he kind of like got me to like, I think it was emailed the media officer there, and he kind of like is like give me like the permission to like film at the stadium. With that documentary, I'll tell you a little secret. I was arranging to interview Robbie Savage and Rob Smith first, but obviously with them being like co-owners, it was very difficult to try and like, you know, get an interview organised and stuff like that. So I got it that didn't happen, but because it would have been very, very good to like have them on the documentary, especially this documentary. It was a college project as well. So yeah, I think with this documentary, it was kind of like, it was a very good experience, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think with it just being a college project, is like not like as good as I wanted it to be. But
so with the setback of obviously not getting Rob and Robbie, how did you then go forward with that? So obviously that's what you was hoping would make your project stand out more, and not to take anything away from the work what you've done, but obviously that kind of setback, you'll be sat there thinking, oh shit, what do I do? Where am I going to go forward? Because obviously I know myself through the media work what I've done, any content you're trying to put together, you put a plan out and then you try and get the people you want to get, and then if you can't get them, then that's it. It kind of like, it fucks your work up basically. But how did you then take that and go, right, this is a setback, but I'm still going to do the documentary for Macclesfield?
yeah, so I kind of made the decision of making it. It was obviously a fan-made documentary, so I wanted to get fans in it, so I got Harry in it, I got John Smart in it, and I got my little sister in it as well because she's a fan as well. And yeah, I think having like fans in it would make it more kind of interesting, like, you know, to the audience, and it will give the audience a little bit of an insight to what, you know, how like Matt Town getting liquidated and how everyone felt, and it's like the impact it made, because obviously we all know it was a very big impact on like their fans, and then kind of having it like transition into like a more positive kind of insight to like the rise of like the reborn Maxfield FC. So yeah, I think it was quite good to have like fans in it. 'Cause, yeah, it was pretty good.
One question, right? When Macclesfield Town went bust, did you cry?
Oh, good question actually. So I'll tell you a little secret. I wasn't that much of a fan of Matt Town. I only went to one game, which my uncle took me to, and I believe it was just before they got liquidated. That I believe it was Crawley Town at home. I think we drew 1-1. And I think Theo Vassell scored the goal for us, I believe. So because I wasn't that much of a fan, I was like, I didn't cry, but I was obviously devastated, like, because the club like Matt Town, it was such a big part to, like, you know, people who are fans of it, and like, cause it's such a beloved club, and the way that, you know, their owner just went to shit with it, it was just awful.
Yeah, and I didn't care about the club. Now, I'll tell you a secret, and here's what's funny. So, my first relationship came to an end, and I didn't cry about that. Whereas when Mac went bust, I was weeping like a baby.
Yeah.
Because Mac isn't just a club in terms of, you don't just go to football to watch football. You make friends at football, and what I call family as well. The football family and community is nothing like a normal family and community. You know, there's people out there what can help you at your worst times, there's people out there what can help you at your best times, there's people out there what can open doors for you. You know, it's like yourself. Obviously, we'll go into this in a moment. You've got a new role, but obviously in the past I've offered, if you wanted to come down to FC United and do any content stuff there, just to let me know, and I'll email the media officer, because I'm on really good terms with them. And I think it's about helping other people. Like, you know, you're into content creation, and obviously, like, I'm sort of getting into that scene myself, but I'm not going to copy the type of content what you do.
Yeah.
But I also look at how younger people work with the content as well, because you guys and girls are the next generation of this line of work. You know, I've just got into it and I'm 30.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, but I can still do it. Whereas, like, you know, you younger ones who are coming up now, like you're 18, you're at uni, you're studying journalism, and that is incredible, because you are the future of sports, and it's about networking and getting yourself out there. And I think you'll do it, like, genuinely. And if there's anything I can do to help, you know, I will do that. And this is through football. This is what football does, you know. Macclesfield is a club. It's a community club as well as, you know, like, we're not just there to get pissed on a Saturday or Tuesday night and that's it. That's all you do for the 2 days. Macclesfield's there for people at the darkest times. Like an example, there was a lad called Andrew, now I forgot his surname, and he was the groundsman, and he died during COVID. Now, at most football clubs, you just, yeah, we'll put a thing on Facebook, or we're sad, we'll mourn you, and that's it, you're kind of forgotten. Whereas at Macclesfield, they've put a plaque for him in Star Lane, because they knew that he liked to stand there and watch the game. And it's the whole community thing, like, he's still remembered. It's like, obviously, Anna, who was working at the club. Now, I never met Anna, so I can't comment on her character, but Anna passed away suddenly. She's remembered all the time on social media. And obviously Julie Saunders recently passed away, and that was upsetting for me, really, because I knew Julie on a personal level. She worked at United as well as Mac, and I used to work at United, so I knew Julie quite well. And it's things like that. You don't forget people. You're not just another statistic or a number. At Macclesfield, you know, if someone from the Mac family dies or whatever happens, if they're going through a bad time, people are there to reach out and to see how you're doing. And I love that about Mac. I really love it. Like, I remember when I first got into Mac, I was 19. One of my mates who I'm now best mates with just said, "Oh, do you want to come Hideaway?" And I was like, fuck it, why not? So I went to Hideaway, and it's one of them, when you go to a place where you feel that you belong, it can make a difference. And Macclesfield, for me, as soon as I went Hideaway, I was like, right, that's my football club. Like, I don't care. I'm from Manchester. I don't care. I'm going to go and watch them. And I've been to like Torquay, Dover, Welling, and all sorts of like random places like that. And what you're yet to experience, because obviously you've kind of had it taken away from you with the club going bust, is when the club does get back in the National League, you'll look at away days and you'll go, I've never heard of there.
Yeah.
But do you know what? I want to go there to experience it. Like Tamworth, I despise Tamworth away, right? It's a horrible ground, it's a horrible away day. But there's a little city called Lichfield, and it's the most random experience. Like, until you go and experience it, it's hard to describe. It's kind of like a 1950s sort of place. People, they dress dead old fashioned. There's not people heads in the phones. And the pound shop is just a weird pound shop. And it's like, until you go and experience it, you don't know where I'm coming from. But it's daft little stories like that where you get the further away days. You know, I remember going to Torquay, setting off at 5 o'clock in the morning for the game to get postponed at 12 o'clock. And oh my gosh, I was fuming.
Yeah.
Like, but it's stuff like that what you remember. And so, like, with your content creation, have you heard of Bunch of Amateurs?
Yes.
I was going to say, because when we played Dorking last year, I actually got interviewed by Rich.
Oh, really?
Yeah, who does it. And I watched it. I watched all his free content first, because I was like, if I'm going to pay for content, I want to see what it's worth.
Yeah.
And I've watched all his free content, and the way he does it, it reminds me kind of, he's a bit like how Harry does it, and a bit like what you were saying about interviewing the fans. And what I like about Rich is he used to work for Sky Sports.
Yeah.
And now he's gone, you know what, Sky Sports can fuck off.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go my way. And he's done it that way. And I've actually just recently, as about 4 months ago, paid to watch the extended videos and stuff. And he is really good. And I look at him and I think, what can I do? Not like him, but what can I do and take inspiration from him? So I look around myself, like I look at the younger people who are coming up like you and Harry. I look at the older people like Rich, who's done it. Have you heard of Location Football?
No, I don't think so.
Well, I didn't hear of him until Tuesday night. So I did the Phoenix Trophy at FC United. And there's a guy, he used to work for Sky Sports, and he goes to football grounds and he does like tours the grounds, does like interviews with people at the club. And he does a bit of a history on the club, and obviously with FC United it's their 20th anniversary, so he's come up to do that, and then he's interviewed like the manager and he's interviewed a couple of players, and I'm waiting for that video to go out. But he was telling me about what he does, and it's funny, he knows Rich from Bunch of Amateurs, and
really?
I'm like, it shows how close the media world is. And for me to be able to pass on any knowledge to anyone that's up and coming, you know, like either you or Harry could say, oh, Sam, I'm thinking of doing this or whatever. If I can give you advice, I absolutely will do, because I think it's important that now we've got a bridge of where you've got the young people who are coming up and you've got the older people who are sort of there with the experience and are doing what they're doing. But we kind of need to sort of think, right, in about 10, 15 years, we might not be in this game, whereas like, you know, you lot probably will be. And then we think, well, if we're stepping aside, we need the younger ones to be able to step into our role and to do what we can do. It's like at FC United, obviously, I aim to work there for as long as I can before I take another role up elsewhere. And that's no disrespect to FC United. It's more like, obviously, I want to earn money from what I'm doing. But when I leave FC United, I don't want to leave them in the lurch of having no one there, because the last guy who was working at FC United is now at Salford City getting paid to do their match highlights. But he's left and no one's filled that role until I've approached the club. And I sort of, as a respect thing, I don't want to leave it where they're in the lurch. I'm not saying he's disrespectful, but I mean, like, with a lot of freelance media, you can't be in 6 places at once, unfortunately. So I believe you've got a role at Salford.
I do. So it's like a partnership with my uni. So I go to University Academy 92, or UA 92 for short. So it's like in partnership with them. And it's like, it's a voluntary role, but it's still very good for like, you know, getting experience and stuff like that. I am a producer, so I basically like change the score for the video, and I kind of assist with like the camera operator. So, like if the camera needs like darkening or brightening or zooming in or zooming out and stuff like that. I've only done one game so far, but through that game it was a very, very good experience. Like, especially with it being near to what I want to get into as well. It's really insightful, and it's kind of like, I think getting to work with getting like obviously a free football game, like you can't turn down a free football game, can you? But like working with all these other students that want to get into sports media as well, it's really good, and I'm really enjoying it.
Well, I think what you're doing is the right thing. Obviously, you can't moan at a free football game. That I agree with. The networking side of what you're going to be able to do is now you're building your portfolio, but you're also building your name and your brand type thing as well. And that's important. And obviously, you know, with women's football, so I did a radio course a few weeks ago. Well, actually more 5-6 weeks ago. And I was highlighting the importance of the awareness of women's football because it doesn't get a lot of, like, respect. Is what I'm going to say. I don't feel there's a lot of respect. And like I said in that interview, and I'm going to echo it into this one, I think football should not matter what age you are, what gender you are, what like sexuality you are either, like whether you're a heterosexual male, female, gay, lesbian, bi, whatever. And, you know, I think sport is inclusive of everyone, and I think that's how it should be. But yeah, on the women's game, there is still a lot of sexism. And there's a girl who I know who formed her game too. And what I like about that is, so this girl's called Caroline May. She's a Bristol Rovers fan. And she formed her game 2 years ago. And obviously at most grounds now, you've got the little symbol, her game too, let's kick out discrimination. So for yourself, obviously, as a woman going into football and media, have you kind of set any challenges to try and sort of help eradicate that sexism, or are you just like trying to raise the profile of the women's game and then you might sort of go from there kind of thing?
Yeah, I've definitely like thought about, you know, the issues and or like the stuff like that would like come about. But I think really I'm just trying to go with the flow and just try and get like my profile out there and try and like, so obviously women's football is on the rise very, very clearly. And it's very good that it's doing that because, you know, it deserves as much like, you know, inclusivity and like with the like watch time as much as the men's football. So yeah, I think I kind of just want to go with the flow with it and just, if anything, obviously, if any issues come up or anything like that, then I will definitely be on board to kind of eradicate that and, you know, try and stand against it.
So let me ask you, as a female, obviously you've been into football now for the last few years. Have you ever had anything like that happen to you personally, or has your experience been a lot better? Has it been more safer for you?
On the most part, I think my audience have just been very, very good and welcoming because literally most of my audience are Mac fans. So they're all like, you know, they'll watch the Mac games or listen to my podcast. Like, they're just amazing. But there has been, I would say, only a few comments, like, you know, on my videos, like, you know, like shit Harry Stokes or whatever. And like, I'm not that bothered, but I think if it comes up more often, then it will probably get to the point where I would be bothered about it. But at the moment, I'm not, and it's not happening as much as of yet. So, which is definitely good. But yeah.
Let me give you some advice, right? So when you're doing something, the more hate you get, that means you're doing really good.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if you don't get hate, you're not doing something right.
Yeah.
And you're not pissing off enough people. Now, when I did a podcast with my mate before we've gone our separate ways, we got a lot of hate before it even got off the ground and before it got to where I was trying to get it to with him. It got a lot of hate, and I literally, everything I got, I replied to it, not in a horrible way, but it helps your engagement. So people who comment nasty shit, I'm like, now you can comment whatever you want. Like, people could comment on this video, or even when I put the Spotify link out and go, your podcast is shit. All right, nice one.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. What can I do to improve? And 9 times out of 10, because you've killed them with the kindness, they don't reply. Well, then your engagement stats on Facebook, it's like, oh, this post has done really well for this. So I love people doing that. And I'll always say, even if you encounter people giving you shit, that means you're doing the right thing and you're doing something right.
Yeah.
But the fact that you've been called shit Harry Stokes, see, I like that comment, and you'll think, whoa, hang on, why is he liking that? I like that because it goes to show the jealousy.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Like, people are jealous of what Harry does.
Yeah.
they're jealous of what you're doing. Now, I love Harry to pieces, and the way he is, his mentality, no matter what, he does not stop doing what he does. And I've seen the shit Harry's put up with online. And you know what? I've also seen the shit Harry's had when it's come to even getting a job, where people haven't took him on because of the way he is. And it's like, nowadays, Harry is lucky, because I remember about 10 years ago, so when I was first getting into work, if you had a disability, the employer wouldn't take you on.
Yeah.
Like straight away, no, that's it. And they say this is why, and it will be because of your disability. Whereas now, because everyone's getting more lenient with stuff, and I think the world's becoming a bit more educated, Harry now has a better chance of getting a job. And I respect it, because Harry is a hard worker. He goes to work and he's still doing this vlogging in his own spare time. And it's like, if I miss a Mac game, I'll watch his vlog, because he gets the atmosphere and he gets like part of the match footage as well, and he gets some good angles on the goals. And I remember, we played Tamworth away in the FA Cup, and I couldn't make it because I was working that weekend, and literally I thought, I've got to wait till probably Sunday, Monday before the actual match highlights come out. And I just went on Harry's video and I thought, I wonder what the atmosphere was like. I just watched Harry's video, and straight away I was like, you know what, I like the way he goes about it. He's not afraid to immerse himself into his content and doing what he does. And Harry, if you're watching this video, honestly, mate, keep up the good work.
Yeah, definitely.
You're an inspiration to more people than what you realise. Like, he inspires me. Like, to watch how he goes about and does what he's doing is incredible. So obviously, you're at uni now for what, is it 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years.
So let's pretend now you're in your last year.
Alright.
You've got everything done what you want to do. You've got your experience, what you want. You've got everything you've ever applied for on a voluntary basis. What's your career looking like for you now? Have you thought about that, or?
Kind of. I know that I want to obviously get into content creation, but I'm thinking kind of either like for a football business. So do you know 90-minute football? Kind of like what they do. Like, they obviously do like the live streams, like reviewing the game week or previewing the game week or whatever. So maybe kind of somewhere like that, just kind of be like, I don't know, like a producer or like just a content creator for them or something. Or maybe for like a Formula One business, because I'm really getting like into F1. So I think, I just kind of want to stick to the content creation and just maybe like build my own business as well, and as well as like maybe working for someone else's business.
Yeah, 100%. And always make sure when you do work for someone else that you get the accreditation.
Yeah, definitely.
Because when I worked FC United against Macclesfield, I don't know if you've watched the match highlights from that game.
Yeah.
The opening video was what I did, and I give Matt credit straight away. There's your accreditation. Thanks for what you've done. And that's important. So obviously, like F1, as you've just mentioned, how did you get into Formula One?
So my dad's always been an F1 fan. He's been an F1 fan for years. Like, he's a McLaren fan. Like, yeah, he's just watched it for ages. So I remember watching the very controversial 2021 last race of the season in Abu Dhabi. Like, I didn't watch the whole race, but I watched like bits of it, and I was like, I'm getting into this. And then I think I watched, have you heard of Le Mans 66?
Nope.
So it's got Matt Damon and Christian Bale in it. It's motorsports. It's not really F1, but it's like literally the Ford versus Ferrari kind of rivalry, like Le Mans 66. So I watched that, and that's how I got into motorsports. And then I literally watched like the F1 Drive to Survive on Netflix. I watched like the whole 4 seasons in 4 days, and I was like, yeah, I'm into this.
See, it's weird because I remember years ago now, I tried getting into Formula One, but for the life of me, honestly, I can't.
Yeah.
And the first time I ever watched a Formula One race was as Michael Schumacher was winding down. And so I got to watch one of the greatest drivers of all time, but it's had no appeal to me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand how someone can sit there and just watch cars
Yeah.
going. Like, I know it's not just that, literally, there is techniques and there's like science behind it. But for me, I'm like, no, it's just not my thing. But obviously, I know you like both football and Formula One. So do you think as a breakthrough, because obviously what you see with most people, they have like sort of a breakthrough idea, so this has kind of just hit me now to ask you, do you think you could get a breakthrough between both sports, or kind of like link it in a way, but not where it's too similar, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think, 'cause obviously I want to do content on football and F1, but on one channel, so obviously that would be very difficult to try and get like them videos out to the YouTube algorithm, because we all know the YouTube algorithm's like, it's so hard to just kind of break through and just get. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna break through. I don't have any ideas yet, but I'm trying to find the motivation to.
I think that's incredible. Like, genuinely, I think the way you're already thinking about a possibility, but you also know what you're talking about. And that's why I kind of threw that question out there, because I want people who are potentially watching this video thinking, hang on, she knows what she's talking about. And hopefully, like, whether it's through this video or through all the work, what you do, I really hope that you do find the kind of job, or like even if you're doing it yourself and you get the recognition for all your hard work, I really wish you the best.
Thank you.
In everything what you do. And I just want to say a massive thank you for coming down here today.
It's alright.
Taking time out and having an interview, and that is it for today. So I just want to say a massive thank you to both for coming down, and a massive thank you to everyone that's watched this video. If you like what you've seen, drop us a subscribe, and also if you like how Beau is, follow her social media, which is...
It's at Beau Brookes _ on Instagram, and my YouTube is Beau Talks Football and Formula One.
And that is it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
I'd just like to say a massive thank you to today's guest, Beau, who's took time to come down, have an interview, and you know what? It was a really wonderful interview, I must say. And thank you, Beau, for taking your time out your day to come down and speak to me. Now, if you like the interview, what was just brought to you, and you've not yet subscribed to me on Spotify or YouTube, please subscribe now. It really does help build my social media, and it also helps support the journey what I'm doing. And also, if you like what you've listened to, please share the videos about, and take care, and I'll see you next time.